Hi there guys, and welcome to Campin Crazy. This is a new podcast started by myself, Ash Outdoors UK. In this episode, which is my first episode, the introduction is the first couple of minutes just summarising what I'm going to be doing in this podcast. The main topic is tents. So I'm comparing two tension tents, one budget, one top end, which is the Lanshan 1 Pro and the Zpacks Altaplex. That lasts for 10 minutes, and then my outro is the last 2 minutes of the podcast, which just goes over what my plans are for future podcast episodes and YouTube videos on this channel. Hope you enjoy and look forward to seeing you all in the comments. Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Campin Crazy. So this is going to be a brand new podcast and a YouTube channel. I'll leave links in descriptions for the YouTube channel, my current YouTube channel, which is Ash Outdoors UK, and the Campin Crazy podcast. I'll also be leaving links for too. So the point of the podcast, basically, my camping channel, Ash Outdoors UK, I don't want to fill it with gear reviews and podcasts. So I'm setting up a new channel, a new platform, just as a little experiment and a little bit of another outlet, just to have a bit of fun really. So the point of the podcast, basically, I'm going to do gear reviews like I said, and I'm also going to do solo podcasts as in questions and answers, and probably be getting a few guests on. I've got 3 or 4 guests lined up from the YouTube and wild camping community already, so things are looking good. We've got a few decent guests, so stay tuned for those. I will keep you updated as and when they happen. So today, like I said earlier, it's a bit of a test just to see how we get on. I'm filming this, so if you want to watch the visuals, then head on over to Campin Crazy YouTube channel. This should be going out to the likes of Apple and Spotify and whatever other platforms you listen to podcasts on. They're the only two I'm aware of at the moment, so bear with me, keep your eye out, spread the word as well. If you're new to the channel and you like what you hear and see, then please share it with your friends, and let's see how we can get on with this. So today I'm just going to choose a little subject to talk about, and it's going to be budget versus top end gear. And the gear that I'm talking about today is going to be tents. So it's going to be a bit of a tent talk. I have got 2 tents to talk about specifically. They're very similar models to one another. One is very high end and the other is very budget, and we'll go through the pros and the cons and the specs and all those other gubbins for you soon. So 2 tents in contention are the Zpacks Altaplex and also the Lanshan 1 Pro. Now they are both single pole trekking tents, so they're both tension tents which needs a trekking pole or a pole set to a certain height to be able to set them up. At the moment, I've just done some research. So one's at one end of the spectrum of the price range and the other is at the bottom end. So the top end, the Zpacks Altaplex, currently, today being 23rd of May 2020, this is the price I found on their website, which is $675 US, which equates to £536 38p for the cost of the Zpacks Altaplex. Now, as I said, I've owned both of these tents, and last year I got charged £150 import tax for the Zpacks Altaplex as well. So if you are thinking about buying it, just be aware that there will be a UK customs charge for that, and it's extortionate in my opinion. And today on the 3FUL gear for the Lanshan 1 Pro, the price is currently €163, which equates to £138. Right, let's go through some of the specs. I've got both up on the screens at the moment, so I will go through the general specs that people want to know. I'll just compare one straight away with the other and yeah, get this bit out of the way quick because there's lots of things to talk about on here. So start off with the weight, which is probably one of the most important aspects for this tent. So the weight for the Zpacks Altaplex is 15.4 ounces, which is 437 grams. Now I believe that is just the tent weight. It doesn't come with pegs, so you need to order pegs for this as well. and that doesn't include the guy ropes either. And just where on the subject of additional extras, the Z-Pax Altaplex, because it's a higher tent, it's ideal for people up to 6'2". It needs a pole jack if you're using a standard trekking pole, which I believe is about 12 inches. So bear that in mind as well. The weight for the Lanshan 1 Pro is currently 840 grams. Now that says trail weight on their website, so I'm assuming that includes guy ropes and pegs, but it is double the weight pretty much of the Altaplex. In fact, it's over. No, it's not. It's just under double the weight of the Altaplex. So the size comparison. Let's get to the internal specs of the tent, the interior dimensions for both the tents. So we'll start with the Z-Pax. So the peak height, like I mentioned earlier, is slightly higher. So 147 centimetres in the Altaplex, whereas the Lanshan 1 Pro is only 125 centimetres. So the floor width in the Z-Pax is 91 centimetres, and it actually says that the Lanshan is 100 centimetres. So if you're wanting extra width in tent, then maybe you go with the Lanshan. The floor length interior is 230 centimetres on the Lanshan, and again exactly the same in the Z-Pax, 230 centimetres, so 2.3 metres. So in all, the Z-Pax Altaplex is slightly higher. It's actually slightly narrower, about 10 centimetres narrower than the Lanshan, but you get that extra height. The length is exactly the same, and to put these tents up, they're exactly the same as well. And like I say, it requires one trekking pole. The additional pole jack for the Z-Pax, which is, I believe, another 30 odd pounds, UK pounds, at the time I got mine, which is 2020. Okay, so on to now the material of the tent. So the materials on the Z-Pax and the Lanshan are very different. I believe this is where a lot of the price difference is justified. The Lanshan is made out of sil nylon. So on the website it says that sil nylon cannot be factory taped like PU nylon, and due to the physical properties it requires seam sealing with an outdoors silicone. So that is why when you get the Lanshan 1 Pro you actually do need to seam seal yourself, and it's not easy, and it's not fun, and it's not pretty either. It looks pretty horrific if you don't do it very well. The Z-Pax is made from a Cuban fibre, DCF, Dyneema fibre. It's not Cuban actually, it just says bio-based Dyneema fibre. The waterproof rating is dramatically better than the Lanshan, and also it is seam sealed out of the pack, so you don't have to do anything with that tent. So that's the basic information about the tents. I've gone through the price, I've gone through the materials and the rough dimensions and weight. There's not much else to talk about apart from my own personal experiences with both of these tents. In my opinion, would I spend again another £400 or £500 on the Z-Pax Altaplex when I can get the Lanshan 1 Pro for a third of its price, pretty much, less than a third of its price? I would not spend that extra money on the Z-Pax again. Here are my reasons why. So they're both pretty much the same design. Both tents are the same shape. The Altaplex is slightly higher. A pro for the Altaplex, in my opinion, it's got a rainbow zip which zips all the way over the top from one side of the other so that you can open out the whole tent, whereas the Lanshan only has a half side door. So you're restricted to sitting just on one side of the tent to do all your cooking and grab anything that you need from the vestibule. The vestibule size is actually pretty good. You can get a good sized bag under there, no problem, and then you can cook in there. They're both vented at the top, near where the pole is jacked up to the ceiling. Another fact about the Altaplex, so the Lanshan has a zip going all the way down the vestibule, and the Altaplex just has little toggles, so it's called a windstorm, a storm flap I believe it's called. That flaps around in heavy wind like we get in the UK. the noise from the Dyneema and the combination of not having a zip on the front, rather just having a toggle, was horrendous. It didn't make no difference how tight the tension was on the tents. It was just crazy noisy. So that is another downfall for the Altaplex for me. They both get condensation in them. They're single wall tents, they're going to. A bonus for the Z-Packs is because it is Dyneema, it doesn't hold the water like the Lanshan does. The Sil nylon actually holds some of the water until it's properly dry. So you could find, if you're a serious through hiker and you are cutting every little gram of weight that you want to cut, the Altaplex might be better because it just sheds the water. You shake it off and it flies off that. Nothing holds in it at all. Obviously the quality on the Z-Packs is going to be superior to the Lanshan. It all depends on how much you want to use the tent and how serious you are about your weight watching. Sounds like I'm giving nutritional advice here, doesn't it? Depends how seriously you want to take it. If you're a seasoned through hiker and you're going to be doing this for months at a time, maybe it is worth spending that extra few £100 on the Altaplex. If you're the weekend warrior like me, who gets out, I don't know, once every other week, twice every other week, and then has the odd week's worth of hiking as a holiday in the summer, then it is completely overkill to get one of those tents again, in my opinion. The pack size is pretty similar in comparison to these tents. It's just literally the weight. It is much lighter. The Altaplex is much lighter, but I'm definitely not convinced that it's worth spending out that extra money. So, what would win in a fight out of a bear and a gorilla? This is my views. Unless you're loaded and money isn't an issue, go with the Z-Packs Altaplex because it is a superior tent, the quality of it. If you're a weekend warrior like me and you're not loaded and you just want a semi-reliable tent that you do have to seam seal, then go with the Lanshan. There's the other option of the Lanshan 2 if you're worried about the size of the Lanshan 1 Pro, because it is that little bit smaller and you do rub your jacket against it when there's condensation. So it's one of those really. This is my view on it, and I'd like to say save your money, listen to my opinion and go with the Lanshan if you're thinking about these two tents. Anyway, if there is anything else I can think about. So my overall opinion, they're both great tents really. I like both designs because they are so similar. If you have any questions about the tents, I'll do my best to answer them. Now, I don't know if you can comment on podcasts or not. This is my first one, like I say, and I know you can comment on the YouTube videos. So if you've got any questions about either of these tents, I'll do my best to answer. I probably slept in the Altaplex only about 4 or 5 times, but the Lanshan I've probably had out at least 10 times now, I should think. And never had a problem with it at all. Yeah, so that's it. I can't really think of anything else I need to mention about the two tents. I've done the price, I've done the weight, I've done the dimensions. What more do you need to know? Anyway, guys, let me know what you think of the podcast for the first attempt. I have got some cool guests lined up. I won't give away some names yet, but there's some big hitters in there. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. This will be a regular thing, but it's not going to be consistent because I don't know when I'm going to get the time to do all this, and not sure about how long editing is going to take on the podcast. So bear with me. This is just a test really to see how things go and see whether I like it, see what sort of response I get, and any suggestions for any guests or podcast subjects, then please let me know. For me, I am camping with a friend on Friday this week, being the 27th of May. Yeah, 27th of May. I'm going up to the Peak District with Brummy. We're going for a campsite camp actually, because he's going to be doing some photography up there. And then I'll be doing a woodland camp. I've got some new gear to try out. I've got a DD A-frame mesh tent, which I'm going to have a tarp camp underneath, and maybe a little fire, weather permitting. Other than that, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up for now. Please go give me a follow on Instagram and YouTube, which is all found at Ash Outdoors UK. And I'm also like you to share the love for the podcast, please, which is Campin Crazy. No G in the camping. It's just Campin, because that's how we roll. Right, guys, thanks very much for listening. If you're watching the podcast on YouTube, thanks for watching. Leave us a comment, like and subscribe, all that jazz. See you again soon. Bye now.